in a year, the 150th anniversary of our settlement. In this film, you'll see a little of what has already been achieved in our island story. And I think you'll agree with me that we have much cause for rejoicing.
Our beginning was a curious one. In the year 1803, Governor King of New South Wales sent John Bowen, a 5-shilling a day lieutenant who could not have been more than 20 years old, to establish the first settlement in Van Diemen's Land. Bowen landed at this spot, Risdon, in September 1803. His Majesty King George III sat upon the throne of England. It was 14 years after the mutiny on the Bounty. It was 23 years after the death of Captain Cook. England was at war with France. Lieutenant Governor Collins came and founded a settlement at Sullivan's Cove, which became our capital city, Hobart. Late in the same year, Lieutenant Governor Patterson founded the northern settlement of Port Dalrymple, which was moved to the present site of Launceston, where the North and South Esk rivers flow into the Tamar. And what did the early settlers find? They found an island 26,000 square miles in extent. Sometimes rugged and forbidding, with thick wooded slopes rising to the central mountain system. They found great freshwater lakes to remind them of Ullswater and Windermere, and quiet streams that recalled the peacefulness of the English countryside. As the pioneers moved outward from the established settlements, they forced the land and the forest to give up its natural wealth. They built early colonial homes like Entally and tried to continue the pattern of civilization they had known at home. With native stone and abundant labor, they reproduced the architecture then favored in England. They made roads and bridged streams. When the first half-century drew to a close, the foundations had been well laid for the state of today. Small but thriving centers sprung up, such as Pontville, Hamilton and Bothwell, Ross, Oatlands, Campbelltown, Perth, Sorell, Richmond, Longford, Avoca, Fingal, Hadspen, Carrick, Westbury, Deloraine, all of which were planned by our early governors. Today, Tasmania has a population of a little more than 250,000. We enjoy a comparative advantage in the production of primary products which we export in exchange for industrial plants, vehicles, and necessary to our modern life. We are renowned for the quality of the apples we grow in the rich Huon and Tamar valleys, which we export abroad. We're planning our share of the world's needs by increasing food production, milk, butter, sheep, wool, and pig meats. But it is not only in agriculture that we progress. 3 decades of power planning has given our state a lead second to none. From the heart of our mountains, the lifelines of electric power stretch out to decentralized industry. Major industries dependent upon this power are the Electrolytic Zinc Company at Risdon, the new aluminium works at Bell Bay, the cement works at Railton, Commonwealth Carbide at Electrona, IXL at Hobart, Cadburys at Claremont, Peyton and Baldwin's and Kelsall and Kemp's woolen mills at Launceston, paper mills at Burnie and Boyer. These and many other enterprises are playing a big part in the economy of the country. And so you see, in the brief span of a century and a half, we Tasmanians have not been idle. We have our cities and towns. We have our railroad system connecting agricultural, timber and mining areas with main ports. Our roads for the swift transport of passengers and freight. Our airports bringing us within 2 hours of the mainland. We are planning a country to maintain a high standard for all people, a country where men are free to speak without fear upon the subjects of the day concerning them, and to worship as they will.
I think you'll agree with me that we have accomplished much in 6 generations. What the government is asking you to do in this centenary year, from September this year till September next year, is to establish permanent memorials to the early pioneers who did so much to build and preserve our island state for future generations. Every town and township should organise the pageants, their carnivals, and the reenactments of historical events applicable to their particular area, to plant memorial trees and do everything in power to make this year one of remembrance.